On this 280-acre farm, the spring morning starts the same as many mornings. Kathleen feeds the chickens and gathers eggs. Nathan splits firewood. Phil fixes a chain in the tractor shed. And Natalie tends new spring starts in the greenhouse. You could say that life here is really not that much different than on any family farm. But Alpha Farm is not a typical farm. It started during the colorful chapter of American history known for hippies, flower power, and painted school buses, when a counterculture generation went back to the land and experimented with communal ways of living. But while many of the communes of the 60s and 70s failed or faded, Alpha Farm has managed to hang on. Tucked deep into the coastal mountains of Oregon, life at Alpha Farm is relatively isolated, and to outsiders, a bit of a mystery.
Alpha Farm is an intentional community. A group of individuals live here harmoniously, and I don't know, it's hard to put a label on this place.
Well, we definitely can't be put inside a box, that's for sure.
We're Quaker-based from the foundation. We're not Quaker by any means, but we are Quaker-based. And Quakers have a history of a good work ethic.
I spend most of my days just doing handyman stuff, chopping wood, carrying wood. I mean, there's always plenty to do. And, we work until, pretty much until we hear the second dinner bell. There's a first dinner bell for 20 minutes, and then there's another dinner bell for, hey, you better get your butt in here.
All right.
Every evening, the residents of Alpha Farm gather. They start their meal with a moment of silence, then kiss each other's hands. It's a gesture to recognize each other and to honor that they have chosen to live here.
And a sauce.
At the head of the table is 89-year-old Caroline Estes, the original founder of Alpha Farm. She's the last of the original Alpha members and has remained here since its start in 1972. Around this table, she's welcomed hundreds of people over the years. I sat with Caroline at the big table to learn about the origins of Alpha Farm.
Oh, this is way back. It's my husband. It's Linda. I think that's Meadow. It's Judy. Probably this is a group of people who really epitomized the strength of how we got going and kept us going.
Seems like there's a lot of idealism and optimism in this group here.
There was. We knew what we were doing and why we were doing it.
Caroline never considered herself a hippie, but like so many others at the time, she felt a disconnect and dissatisfaction with mainstream America. The segregation, sexism, and war that raged in Vietnam. She envisioned a simple place where she and Jim and others could live out their Quaker values of nonviolence, egalitarianism, and hard work. With a small group of like-minded individuals, Caroline traded her urban life in Philadelphia for a farm deep in the coastal mountains of Oregon. It was at the end of a gravel road, with forests, hayfields, and a flowing creek. It was called Alpha. They cut wood to heat their homes and planted a garden to grow food, but they still needed to pay the bills. So within the first few months, they launched a business to help support the farm. They called it the Alphabet Cafe. Some 20 miles away in the nearest town of Mapleton, they converted an old pool hall into a coffee shop with books, handcrafts, and grain burgers.
We didn't count hours and days we had to work. Maybe 12-hour days, maybe 10-hour days, maybe 6 days a week, maybe 7 days a week. But that wasn't how we qualified what we were doing. I think it would be fair to say that all of these people wanted to live a whole life. and I guess we could say wholesome life, with a view to creating something that was sustainable and long-term.
Acceptance of the new hippie cafe in the logging town of Mapleton was a slow start, and it wasn't clear if they were going to survive the first winter. But the retirement of the local mailman gave them an unexpected opportunity. The mail route has been a dependable source of income and sustained them through lean times. It also gave them another point of contact with the surrounding community.
The main reason that they started Alphabet in the first place was outreach into the community. We are an intentional community. We're not just a community that occurred. And in that, we have a message. Our message isn't like so much in words as it is in relationships. As an example, for Christmas, we make usually cookies or candy treats or fudge or something, and we deliver that to all of our 240 or so mail patrons. It hasn't been the same mail car drivers for 42 years, but it's always been Alpha.
At its height, Alpha was just over 30 people, and 5 at the lowest. This spring, at 8, it's pretty low. But Nathan and Natalie are new arrivals.
I always felt like drawn to Alpha Farm. I had dreams about the bus. I saw the bus in a picture, and I had this dream that I was living in the bus. So when I got here, they were like, you should find a room, if you're going to stick around. And I was like, I want the bus. And that was weird because, nobody wanted the bus. Nobody had lived there in, I think, a year or so. It needed some love, some fix-up stuff. And so, I don't know. Generally, I guess I'm saying is I'm right where I want to be.
Well, the coal weevil is a little black bug. He comes from Mexico, some folks say. They come all the way to Texas. Just looking for a place to stay, looking for a home. Just looking for a home.
Alpha Farm has weathered lean years and remains. In fact, it is the longest continuously running intentional community in Oregon.
Caroline, with the support of scores of other people, particularly Jim, had a vision. And the legacy is that they had faith in the vision, and they walked it out.
At least 6 babies have been born at Alpha, several marriages, and 4 deaths, including Carolyn's husband, Jim.
My daughter got this tree to commemorate, and so he's buried right here.
Jim's grave is marked by a weeping cherry tree.
And I expect to be buried next to my husband.
After 44 years, Alpha Farm closed the doors of the Alphabet Cafe. It was just too much work for too few people to keep it going. For months afterwards, loggers and locals stopped by, but found it empty, with a thank you note in the window. And it raised the question, had the heyday of Alpha passed? Or were the farm's years numbered?
Alpha Farm is going away. It may not go away when Caroline dies. It may last another 10 years. Let's say 100 years. Let's give it 1,000. Okay? It's going away. It doesn't matter. You don't have to keep it going. The point isn't keeping Alpha Farm going. The point is when you're going, what you're doing.
There's always something new, and we're always living the moment to moment. at this time we may be experiencing all this rain, but within just few more moments we're going to be in sunshine. So I think that the will and the power to see through the change.
Every day I thank the Spirit that brought me here and keeps me here. And I don't have any feeling of not being here, so I don't think I'm finished yet.
So for now, this spring day ends like many good days at Alpha. Caroline takes her place at the head of the big table. And this family of intention gather again to share the fruit of their labors.